live in interesting times. Today's stories. In Florida, Aid to Humanity recipients in Orlando are thankful for the compassion and care of those helping their community. In Washington, D.C., Philippine philately static exhibit seals the embassy's 2019 Cultural Diplomacy Program. In Arkansas, a tour of Heritage Park. In Canada, Sneakerhead Toronto steps it up. Still in Canada, the Raptors earn victory over the Cavaliers and score a win with Filipino fans. Plus, in Australia, kickboxer River Daz shares his love of the sport and his Filipino roots. And in Washington State, the 49ers gear up for a pivotal game against the Seahawks. This is Eagle News Weekend Edition, broadcasting from Washington, D.C., bringing you stories from around the globe. I'm Ace Ramirez. In Florida, recipients of a recently held Aid to Humanity outreach in Paramore, a community in Orlando, said they felt the compassion and concern of those who helped, and this made a huge difference. Eagle News correspondent Melissa Potes with more.
Paramore, a neighborhood rich in African American history, is located in West Central Orlando, Florida.
It's a wonderful, vibrant community. And it has a lot of history for the Orlando area and for the city of Orlando.
Despite its rich history, it is also known for being extremely disadvantaged. According to the Paramore Comprehensive Neighborhood Plan, 1 in 4 residents is unemployed with a 23.8% unemployment rate. The median average income is approximately $15,500, 3 times below the entire city of Orlando.
It's really hard because this is like the low class and the homeless, so it's really, really hard. And it's especially hard to be on your feet and everything as well. So for somebody or organization or anybody to actually help is very helpful.
Going up on the rent and stuff, putting people going up, the rent's so high, people can't afford them, they're moving out. A lot of the older people, they're really moving out and losing their home and stuff, and that's not fair. It's not fair at all, you know.
Given the situation of the residents of Paramore, the FYM Foundation brought its Aid to Humanity community outreach program to the Callahan Neighborhood Center.
A non-stock, a non-profit, and a non-political organization. Its true mission is to provide opportunity and equity for individuals in different communities, to promote education, to ensure socio-economic well-being, and to promote environmental awareness and health improvement for everyone. The Felix Y. Manalo Foundation, or the FYM Foundation, continues to create a peaceful and productive community effort.
We chose Paramore because, as you can see, many of our fellow men in this place really in dire need of help. Today we will be distributing 2,000 Goodwill bags along with 2,000 meal packs.
The program provided free health screenings, gently used clothing, live entertainment, and culminated with the distribution of care packages and meal packs. Individuals shared their thoughts on the importance of organizations and leaders giving back.
Mayor Dyer believes very firmly in the power of partnerships and collaborations, and this is a wonderful example of how our community is compassionate and caring and serving their neighbors and members of their community.
It makes me feel great that someone cares enough for the community to come out to give a helping hand on the community. It lets me know that they appreciate the community and they care about the community.
Thank you so very much. Because Lord knows, me and my family, we did need the supplies and we did need the food.
Makes me feel good. I mean, you know, when you're out on the streets, a lot of times you get to think too many negative thoughts. So when something positive like this happens, it makes a difference.
It means a lot to us. Well, nobody, ever say it, but it means a lot to us, A lot of people really don't have anything to eat, And when you guys come, it's a feeling here and here.
Events like this Aid to Humanity provide a positive example of how community leaders and organizations can collaborate to benefit the people and families they serve. Reporting to you from the Callahan Neighborhood Center in Orlando, Florida, I'm Melissa Potas, always one with 25.
Thank you, Melissa. In Washington, D.C., a 16-page frame filled with Philippine stamps from the Spanish colonial era to the present was on display at the lobby of the Philippine Chancery Annex building. This exhibit concludes the passing year's cultural diplomacy activities of the embassy. The static exhibit with stamps for the Spanish galleon mail and during the Japanese occupation of the Philippines was co-organized by Centro Rizal, Washington, D.C. and the International Philatelic Society, or the IPPS. In Arkansas, a tour of Heritage Park. In Canada, Sneakerhead Toronto steps it up. Eagle News Weekend Edition will return shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is Eagle News Weekend Edition, coming to you from Washington, D.C. I'm Ace Ramirez. In Arkansas, Eagle News correspondent Don Omar Cuevas takes us on a relaxing tour of Jacksonville's Heritage Park, listed on the National Registry of Historic Places. Let's take a look.
Hello from Jacksonville, Arkansas.
One of the unique places to visit in Jacksonville, Arkansas is Reed's Bridge Battlefield Heritage Park, which is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The park features a replica of 1860s homestead and war artifacts, and a walking trail with historical markers narrating the 1863 Little Rock Campaign Civil War battle and other historical events. It is also an official Trail of Tears site. At Heritage Park, visitors can learn about history while enjoying a day in the outdoors.
Coming in from Jacksonville, Arkansas, I'm Eagle News correspondent Don Omar Cuevas, and I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Don Omar. Meanwhile, in Canada, Sneakerhead Toronto steps it up, this year living up to its fame as North America's largest street cultural festival. Eagle News correspondent Ryan Gallardo with the story.
Do any of these terms ring a bell? Breads, Royals, SBs, or how about 1s, 11s, or 350s? If they did, and the first thing you thought of were sneakers, then you must be a sneakerhead. We are here at Sneakerhead Toronto, where street culture enthusiasts are gathered to collect their kicks and show off their fits.
Held at the Concert Hall in Toronto, Sneakerhead Toronto is North America's largest street culture festival. Top sneaker and apparel vendors are gathered to showcase their street culture apparel for fellow enthusiasts to purchase or trade for. This year's festival not only includes its highlighted sneakerhead market, but it also includes the Universal Break League, presented by Kicks and Snares, collective effort. World-class B-boys and B-girls battle it out in an elimination tournament that features special guest judges and a live battle DJ Mars.
The B-boy competition or B-girl B-boy competition, it's very inclusive, I guess, and it's very immersive, so it's very cool how they have it going on in the middle of the floor, and then just the sneakers having one of a kind and unique stuff that's just all around the venue. It's pretty cool.
street culture has become a trend in recent years, spearheaded by the increased popularity of sneakers. Because of this, sneakers have evolved from being a complementary piece of an outfit to being the statement piece that defines one's outfit. The top street culture brands, Supreme, Off-White, and Fear of God, as well as top sneaker brands, Nike, Jordan, and Adidas, have seen a tremendous growth in sales, with many of their products being sold out in a matter of minutes. This is mainly due to these same companies collaborating with celebrities, other popular companies, or even amongst each other in designing various products. These sold-out products usually have low supply and high demand, causing them to be highly sought after in the street culture community. This is in part due to the potential value these products have in the resale market. The resale price can be hundreds or even thousands of dollars over the retail price in a matter of days, granting a huge return to the reseller.
People are looking for something different, something unique, something that's creative, and what you're seeing in the you're actually seeing some of the shoe companies are trying to tap into that. They've kind of like plugged into the creative market of shoes and teaming up with different hip hop artists to create their own shoes, but then also in getting people to become part of this creative festival. So essentially, I think the street culture, street fashion, streetwear, the associated music, the associated sort of elements of it, like whether it's breaking, hip hop, all these things are going to come together and going to just get even bigger over the next couple of years for sure.
Street culture and sneakers is popular among the younger demographics aged 15 to 25. This has become a way for them to demonstrate their style and show their personality, ranging from timeless classics to futuristic tech and everything in between. There is something that will pique one's interest.
Whether you have a casual or avid admiration for sneakers, there's a sneakerhead in all of us. We don't just choose any sneaker that's available to us. We choose sneakers based on its aesthetics and see if it matches what we wear. And that alone has us thinking like a sneakerhead. In Toronto, Ryan Gilardo, Eagle News, I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Ryan. Up next, still in Canada, the Raptors earned victory over the Cavaliers and score a win with Filipino fans. Plus, in Australia, kickboxer River Daz shares his love of the sport and his Filipino roots. And in Washington State, the 49ers gear up for a pivotal game against the Seahawks. Eagle News Weekend Edition will be right back. Stay with us. This is Eagle News Weekend Edition coming to you from Washington, D.C. I'm Ace Ramirez. The love of basketball transcends countries and cultures. Last season, the Toronto Raptors became the first ever Canadian team to win the NBA title. A lot of Canadians fell in love with the sport since. It's an understatement that Filipinos also love basketball. And for a fact, there is a significant number of Filipinos living in Canada. Thus, as the Raptors took on the Cleveland Cavaliers, they also hosted the second annual Filipino Heritage Night at Scotiabank Arena. Eagle News correspondent Zarita Sese with the story.
Last Monday, the Toronto Raptors took on the Cleveland Cavaliers, a team they once had trouble overcoming in the playoffs. With the Raptors trying to bounce back from a bumpy 6-game stretch, a win over the struggling Cleveland squad is the kind of confidence that this team needed. Not only were the Raptors hosting the Cavs at home, but Monday night's game marks the second annual Filipino Heritage Night in collaboration with the nonprofit organization, the Rise Tribe. With the Filipino population continuing to rise in Canada, and especially in Toronto, the importance of an organization like the Rise Tribe is evident, a nonprofit organization founded by a group of young Filipino Canadians. They saw that even younger generations needed guidance when it came to their education and careers. Abby Albino is one of the co-founders who recognize the power that a sport like basketball has when reaching out to younger generations.
Playing in sport or being a part of a sports team, you are essentially part of a larger family. So the transition from being a kid who just like was in a Filipino family to someone who's playing in sport actively, it was seamless. So yeah, for me, development in sport is really important. Again, it teaches you leadership, it teaches you all sorts of life skills.
Anyone who purchased Filipino Heritage Night tickets were also able to get their hands on an exclusive t-shirt, which is adorned with the Raptor. In addition to t-shirts, those who were able to purchase premium tickets were also treated with some surprises, like a visit from Bobby Webster, the general manager of the Toronto Raptors. Though Filipino communities in Toronto and in Canada as a whole have been present for years, there's a surge of younger Filipino Canadians who, with the help of organizations like the Rise Tribe, are seeing the possibilities that are available to them.
A lot of them just want to do what they love, and that's kind of our generation now. We kind of took it up on ourselves to really take somebody who wants to get in photography or wants to get into media and pair them up, or at least show them examples of successful Filipino Canadians in those spaces so that they can see that there is representation and that it is possible to achieve that.
By the end of the night, the fans were able to see their Toronto Raptors walk away with the win, defeating the Cavs by a score of 133-113. Philippines' own Jordan Clarkson of the Cavaliers finished the night with 9 points in 23 minutes. From the Scotiabank Arena, I'm Zarita Sese, Eagle News, 1 with 25.
Thank you, Zarita. Now let's go to the land down under. In Melbourne, Australia, our Eagle News team caught up with kickboxer River Daz as he shared with us why he loves the sport and how proud he is of his Filipino roots. Eagle News correspondent Patricia Madronio reports.
With an undefeated record, the current Muay Thai lightweight title holder, kickboxer River Daz, caught up with EBC Sports International to talk about his career and his Filipino roots.
In terms of when I was younger, I didn't really realize that I was interested more so, but as I got older and I started turning it into a hobby, then I realized this is something I really want to do for life. I started training when I was 17. I was just coming out of school. I was looking for a new interest, a new hobby, and my friends told me about it. Like, hey, you should try Muay Thai, kickboxing, and I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then from there, it took me about 3 years to 4 years for me to actually want to compete. I did extremely well, but I had 8 amateur fights and I did extremely well, but I wasn't sure that this was something that I wanted to do. It was just a hobby on the side. And then from then, my first fight happened. I was just still thinking, could I do this? Could I not? It's always just been a hobby of mine for sure. As I've gotten older, there's a lot and more fights and more experience with my career. There's a lot more discipline, a lot more dedication that's involved. There's a lot more sacrifice. I do miss out on a lot of get-togethers with my family and my friends, But in terms of this is my dream, this is what I love to do. So with all of that, the hard work and the dedication, this is what I love to do, and I'm really enjoying that. It's fun, and I really enjoy that I'm doing this. In terms of my training, and especially for camps, I take about 8 to 12 weeks for preparation, and it's usually about 4 hours a day, Monday to Saturday.
Wow.
Yeah, so, and that's not just including training overall, that may be including my stretching, or even just mental work as well. But on top of all of that, then I have to make sure I look after my health and also my diet, keep myself as healthy as possible. My parents definitely, they took the opportunity to come over here quite a while ago, roughly 30, 40 years ago from the Philippines, and I'm very fortunate to be a Filipino in Australia. Aside from just being able to live my dream as being a kickboxer, I have a great education, I have a better lifestyle, Australia, I am, grateful that I am in Australia. All the opportunities are endless for me. And for me, I've decided to go after my dreams, and I can't thank them enough, to be honest. But my heart's truly Filipino. The culture's still there. So in terms of my culture and also my heart, it's truly Filipino. But I'm just born Australian. I would have to say, like, the Philippines are a very warrior race. You know, we've always been fighting, but we are great in multiple combat sports. Like, number one being Manny Pacquiao. You know, he's just a champion. He's our hero. You know? I would say it inspires me to know that more and more people, not just Filipinos, but everyone in general, is starting to take up martial arts as another way of just health and fitness. It's really nice to see that, like, I have other people come up to me, especially on my Instagram or on my socials, just telling me, hey, look, I know you're Filipino pride. And I find that because I am Filipino, I find that Filipinos are very patriotic. So it doesn't even have to be martial arts. It doesn't even have to be sport. Whenever we hear, or whenever, even for myself, whenever I hear someone else who's Filipino who's doing great in their field, you know, it's not just me, but the whole nation gets behind. I have a little group of people when they watch me, you know, you can really tell it's like they're the Phillies there, because it's just like this one little area that's just bright, loud, and really, really loud, and just the most passionate of the crowd, if you can really, like, I can feel it when they're there. For everyone who wants to be a kickboxer especially, I would have to say, first off, make sure that you enjoy it. Yeah, if it's your hobby and you want to do it once a week, then do that. That's fine. That's still success, right? But if you want to continue this to become a champion, then work hard, work your butt off, and make sure you love every day of it.
With his recent win in Germany, River aims to improve his record to remain undefeated. This is Patricia Madronio, and I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Patricia. Meanwhile, in Washington State, the NFL regular season is winding up, and one of the teams sure of securing a spot in the playoffs is the San Francisco 49ers. Their final game of the season against the Seattle Seahawks, however, will determine their ranking going into postseason. EBC's Mark Nabong of our San Francisco Bureau gives us insight on just how important this game is for the Niners. Mark?
The San Francisco 49ers are set to take on the Seattle Seahawks in the biggest game of the year. On the final game of the regular season, everything is at stake. A win on Sunday would give the 49ers first place in the conference with a first-round bye and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. A loss would put them in 5th or 6th place depending on other games. They would lose that first-round bye and they would have to play the remainder of the playoffs on the road. The last time these two teams met was on Monday night, November 11. Former kicker of the 49ers, Chase McLaughlin, missed the game-winning field goal at the end of regulation. They went into overtime and lost the game by a field goal. This time will be different. One of the focal points for the 49ers offense and favorite target of Jimmy Garoppolo is George Kittle, and he will be active for Sunday's game. This game was flexed from its original start time and will now be the featured game on Sunday Night Football. From Santa Clara, I am Mark Nabong, 1 with 25.
Thanks, Mark. That is this week's Eagle News Weekend Edition. Join us next week for stories from our bureaus across the nation and around the globe. Visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/EagleNews and on Facebook.com/EagleNews. Thank you for watching. I'm Ace Ramirez. I'm 1 with 25.